So I believe we are starting. I just want to give everyone a couple minutes to kind of get settled in, or not a couple minutes, just a few seconds to get settled in. And then from there, we'll be able to get started. So just want to let you know, thank you so much for attending this webinar. And again, I will get started in just a few seconds. Okay, so hello everyone, welcome. I am Brennan Brown from the Neighborhood Services Department and Recreation and Community Services Department. I want to thank you all for joining us in today's Tax Exemption and Renter Rebate webinar. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So if you would like to go back and view any of the information later, it will be available on youtube.com/Albany CALB. That's www.youtube.com/Albany CALB. And all questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. In order to do that, you can click on the Q&A button at the bottom and type in your question, or at the end of the webinar, you can click on the hand raising function, also at the bottom of your screen. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Annemarie Heineman, Director of Albany CARES.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. I recognize some names, folks I know, and some people I don't. So we're going to cover information about the different tax exemptions for homeowners and tax rebates for renters. And it's going to be an overview. And my number will appear a number of times, and email address also, and people are welcome to call me or email me after the webinar. I'm happy to talk to folks and answer any questions one-on-one as well as after the presentation. Okay, thanks, Sid. Slide, thank you. So we're going to start. I'll just go over the goals of today's presentation. Then just a little bit about what are parcel taxes. I'll give you some figures. How much are we talking about for credits and rebates? Then we're going to get into a bit more detail about eligibility with examples. So I'm going to cover eligibility for senior homeowners. I'm going to cover eligibility for homeowners who are not seniors, and eligibility for renters. So hopefully everyone who's here will feel like their situation has been covered at least somewhat. Then we'll have a little bit about how to go about applying and how do you actually receive the credit or the rebate. And then some phone numbers and emails about how to get more information, and time for questions and answers. So the goals of the presentation, I would like for everybody who's attending today to learn if you yourself may be eligible for any of the parcel tax exemptions or rebates. I'd like for everybody to understand how to go about beginning the application process. I'd like you to have information about who to contact if you need more information, and to know when the deadline is for applying. I want everybody to note, and I'll say this again, this is very complicated. It's okay if you don't completely understand it at the end of this webinar. It's taken me a long time to understand as much as I do. So expect to have questions. It's fine to have questions, and feel free to ask them. So what are parcel taxes? A parcel tax is a type of real estate tax. It is not based on the value of the property. A parcel tax is given to every parcel exactly the same amount. So every homeowner and business owners as well has a parcel tax the same amount that is levied on their property, and it shows up on the property tax bill. It is a flat tax. Parcel taxes are paid by homeowners as part of the property tax bill. Renters indirectly pay property taxes when you pay your rent. Renters tend to pay for most of the costs of the owners. So it's for that reason that renters are eligible for some parcel tax rebates, even though they don't pay a property tax bill. So how much are we talking about? If you are a homeowner and if you're eligible for all of the Albany exemptions, the total is $1,428. If you are a renter and you're eligible for all of the rebates, the total is $838. So now we're going to go into eligibility, and I'm going to start with senior homeowners. So if you own your home, and in this case, you have to be an owner occupant. So you own your home and you live in your home, and you are over the age of 65, or you are 65 or older, you are automatically eligible for an exemption of $1,039 from the Albany Unified School District. I'm using the acronym AUSD. You'll see it quite a few times in this presentation, and that stands for Albany Unified School District. If as a senior, you're also very low income, and by very low income, they are defining that as a maximum of $45,700 for a one-person household, $52,200 for a two-person household, and then there are amounts that go up from there if you have more than two people in your household. So if you're considered very low income, you're eligible for an additional $389 parcel tax exemption from the City of Albany. So you can see here there are tax exemptions and rebates through both the city and the Unified School District, and these are separate. So if you're eligible for both of those, that is the total I mentioned before, $1,428. That's all the exemptions that exist. So that's how it works for senior homeowners. So here's example one, a senior homeowner, and her name is Janet. And Janet is 78 years old. She owns her home, which in our picture is a beautiful log cabin in Albany. Her income is from Social Security and she gets a small pension. And the total of her income is $41,000 a year. So Janet's eligibility. Janet is senior, she's 78, so we're going to look at senior homeowners. She owns her home, she's over the age of 65, she is eligible for the $1,039 exemption from the Unified School District. She also qualifies as very low income. Her income is $41,000 a year, and the maximum, the cutoff for very low income in this case is $45,700 for one person. She's a one-person household. Her income is below the cutoff, so she's eligible for an additional $389 from the City of Albany, and she's eligible for the maximum $1,428. Next, we have Fred and Ethel, we all know and love, and Fred and Ethel own a home in Albany. Fred is 68, Ethel is 62. Ethel is still working, and last year she earned $40,000 in income. Fred is collecting Social Security of $18,000 a year, so their combined income for a two-person household is $58,000. So Fred and Ethel own their home, and they are 65 or older, or rather Fred is older than 65, and that's enough. One homeowner being over 65 is enough to qualify for the $1,039 exemption from the Unified School District. Now, to be very low income, their income would have to be under $52,200 for two people, and it is not. Their income last year was $58,000, so they don't qualify for the additional $389. They don't qualify as very low income. but they will get the $1,039 from the Unified School District. So next I'm going to talk about homeowners who are not seniors. So if you are a homeowner and you're not yet 65 and you're not going to be 65 by July of this year, then this applies to you. If you own your home and you are low income, this is different from very low income. This is low income as defined by the Albany Unified School District. That means a maximum of $73,100 for one person, $83,550 for two people. So in this case, low income, $73,100 is the cutoff. If you own your home and your income is below that cutoff, you're eligible for $591 from the Albany Unified School District. If you also qualify as very low income, and this is the cutoff we talked about before, $45,700 for one person, you're eligible for the additional $389 from the City of Albany. If you are extremely low income, and that is complicated, I'm not going to get into all of the details here, but it's much lower than the $45,700. If you are extremely low income, you're eligible for the additional $448 from the Albany Unified School District, which would bring you up to that maximum, that $1,428 that we talked about in the beginning. So that's how it works for homeowners who are under 65. So here we have a non-senior homeowner, Frank. Frank owns his home and he lives there with his 8-year-old son. So they are a two-person household. Frank's income last year was $65,000. So Frank owns his home and he does qualify as low income under the Albany Unified School District rules. His income was $65,000 for two people, which is well under the limit of $83,550 for two people. So he is going to be eligible for the exemption of $591 from the Unified School District. He does not qualify as very low income. The cutoff is $52,200 for two people, and his income was $65,000. So he will not be eligible for the additional $389 from the City of Albany. Now, renters. So if you are a renter and you are what the Albany Unified School District counts as low income, which means under $73,100 for one person, under $83,550 for two people, you are eligible for the $591 rebate from the Unified School District. If you are also considered very low income, which is the $45,700 for one person, you will be eligible for an additional $247 from the City of Albany. It's a different amount than the $389, which is for homeowners. Renters aren't eligible for all of the exemption / rebate from the City of Albany, but about 2/3 of it. So you, as a renter, would be eligible in this case for the $838, which we said was the maximum for renters. And here we have an example. This is Jeff and Annie. They are renters, and they, well, Annie is working. She earns $46,000 a year. Jeff lost his job and he's been on unemployment. He received $18,000 in unemployment benefits last year. So together their income is $64,000 a year for two people. So as renters, they are low income. The cutoff is $83,550 a year for two people, and their income was $64,000. So they are eligible for the $591 rebate from the Unified School District. However, they do not qualify as very low income their income of 64,000 was higher than the cutoff of 52,200 for two people. So they won't be eligible for the additional 247 from the City of Albany. And here's our last example. This is June. June is 72 years old. She rents an apartment and she lives there by herself. She receives $23,000 per year in Social Security. And last year, she also earned $20,000 from her investments. So her total income for the year was $43,000 for one person. So June is a senior, but that doesn't matter in the case of a renter. That only applies to homeowners. So as a renter, June is considered low income because her income of $43,000 was under the cutoff of $73,100. So she will be eligible for the $591 rebate from the Unified School District. And she also is very low income. Her income is under the cutoff of $45,700 for one person. So she will be eligible for the $247 also from the City of Albany for a total of $838. So those are the examples. How to go about applying. So first, you need to get the application form or forms, depending on if you are applying to just the school district or just the city or both. These are completely separate and there are separate applications. You can get the forms from the websites. The city website is albanyca.org. You can find the forms under the Finance Department and then specifically on a page called Tax Exemption and Renter Rebate. If you're looking online for the Unified School District forms, you go to their website, which is ausdk12.org. You look under the tab Community, and down at the very, almost the bottom of the list, about 4 up from the bottom, you'll find parcel taxes. And then you go to that page, and in both cases, you can print out an application form. Now, if you're not able to get onto the website or you don't have a printer at home, you can contact me. I can mail you the forms. I can email you forms. You can also contact each agency, the Unified School District or the City of Albany, and they can mail you forms, or the Albany Senior Center is also able to do that and will even deliver forms to you if that's needed. So you get the forms that you need to fill out, and those will tell you in detail exactly what documentation you need to verify your situation. If it's proof of income, it can be the front page of your tax return. It can be a bank statement. Usually you have to prove your identification using a copy of your ID. And if you need help making copies of anything, you can also contact me or the Albany Senior Center, and we can help you with that as well. The due dates for these applications: the city application is due June 1st, and the Albany Unified School District application is due May 31st. So only 1 day difference. So we're talking about a little less than a month from now. And in both cases, on the forms, it tells you where to send the application, and you need to mail it in. You can't drop it off in person, at least not for the Unified School District. So these are two separate applications with their own application process. How you receive the credit or the rebate. If you're a homeowner and you're granted a parcel tax exemption, it means that parcel tax will be removed from your next property tax bill. The bills go out in late September, early October, and you pay property taxes, 2 separate payments. The first one will be in November. And so in November, you will be paying less if you get an exemption. And you can actually see it on your property tax bill. top right corner of your tax bill is where the parcel taxes are listed. And the ones that are eligible for exemptions have a little asterisk next to them. If you get an exemption, that line comes right off your bill and you do not see that parcel tax on your bill. If you're a renter and you're granted a parcel tax rebate, you receive a check, and I'm told that those go out in September. So for more information, here's my phone number and also my email address. And as I said, people are welcome to reach out to me with any questions, confusion, needing help with the forms. The Albany Unified School District, they have a designated staff person who can answer questions about the Unified School District exemptions and rebates. And I believe she can also mail forms out. And then the city has an agency that they contract with who handles this, and they're called NBS. And here is their phone number, the 800 number, and an email address for them as well. And I think we'll keep this page up if people want to write any of the information down while we take questions.
All right, so now is a great time. If anyone has any questions, again, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. It has the little speech bubbles and a Q ampersand A, and that, or the hand raising function if you would like to ask a question that way. We have one hand raised, that is Karen Holzmeister, so I'm going to allow you to talk. And it says
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Annemarie. That was a meticulous presentation, and I really learned a lot from what you have started to tell us on this process. May I ask, when you said the first page or the front page of your taxpayer report, this year I used money which was in a Roth IRA, which you don't have to pay taxes on. And so my final income is quite low because of the use of the Roth IRA. Do they look at the surrounding money that you have earned, or do they look only at your total income?
I believe they just want to see your gross income reflected on your tax form.
Mm-hmm.
If you, some people don't file taxes. If you get Social Security or you're living on SSI, you can often use a bank statement that shows the deposits that come into your account, where they're from and how much they are. But if you're using your tax returns, I believe they just want to see your gross income.
Fine. So that would be the money that you receive that you may not pay taxes on just because you paid taxes before on a Roth IRA. Is that correct?
That is correct. Now, to be sure about this, because that's actually probably a better question for Trudy Chang at the Unified School District, or for NBS, the company that does this for the city. It might be a good idea to just double check with them, because I would hate for you to send the wrong form and then, you know, not get the exemption or the rebate because of that.
Okay, then, so both in terms of looking at the form that you are making available, and also before sending anything, to check either with Trudy Chang as far as the school district is concerned, or if necessary to talk with someone from the city's finance department.
Exactly. The city's finance department or that company, NBS, they put out their phone number
Right.
for questions about this. I know Trudy is very responsive and will call you back or pick up the call. And I think it's just a good idea to check in before you mail that in.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, we have another question. And actually, before we get to this next question, I want to let you know if you're a call-in user, you can use the hand raise function by dialing *9. So if you dial *9 as a call-in user, you can use the hand raise function. This next question is, are unmarried couples treated the same as married couples? 1, for purposes of determining if you are a senior household, and 2, for purposes of counting your household's income.
Okay, that's a good question. I haven't actually ever asked that question. I don't think that there's any proof that you have to show that you have any legal relationship to each other. If you are a renter, and it doesn't matter how old you are, but if you're filing taxes jointly, doesn't matter if you're married or not. If you're a homeowner, again, your legal relationship to each other, I don't believe makes any difference. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if this was a homeowner question or a renter question. Did you say, Brennan?
It didn't specify, I don't believe. It says it refers to senior households, but that could be
Senior
either.
households. Again, it's probably a good idea to call the one that you're applying to and ask them, but I don't see that that would make any difference. I don't think there's any kind of verification of what your relationship is to each other when you're applying for either the homeowner or the renter exemptions and rebates. That answers the question.
I'm seeing no more hands raised or questions in the Q&A. So if anyone does have a question, feel free to do the hand raise function or ask a question in the Q&A box.
I'll also mention here, I like to send information out to people by email. So if you are an email user and we haven't been in contact before by email, feel free to put your email down in the chat frame. I think you can do that, or you can email me and give me your email address and I can send you some of this information and links to the forms, etc. By email.
And then can you clarify really quick, Annemarie, if one of the one of those in the household is a senior, does it count as a senior household?
Yeah, now the senior eligibility, that only counts for homeowners. It doesn't make any difference your age when it comes to renters. But yes, just one of the homeowners being a senior is enough to qualify the household as senior homeowner household.
And I think that is all the questions we have. And I do want to remind everyone that if you have any more questions or would like to contact Annemarie, you can reach her at 510-559-4589. That is to the Albany CARES number, or you can email albanycares@albanyca.org. Thank you so much, Annemarie, for doing this presentation. I appreciate it.
And I don't know if people want to stay after and ask a question, one-on-one. I'm happy to stay on if anyone has further questions.
I'm not sure it can work in this particular style, but again, yeah, I think if anyone has any questions now, they'd be it would be a great time to do that. But if not, you can always reach her by phone or email. All right. With that, we will conclude the presentation. Thank you all so much for joining us.